This lecture we will be looking at some more comparison operators. Those are double equals to or triple equals to. These are also known as equality operators. Okay? Because they will check whether the values are equal or not. Okay? So let's see them in action one by one. So first we will check double equals to. Okay? It is also known as loosely comparison operator. Loose comparison operator. Okay, so let's see what it means. So if I try to compare 19 to 19, then we will get true. That is fine, right? But what if we use a string of 19 and a number 19? Then let's see what happens. Then again it gave us true. That is because the double equals to operators did type conversion internally. Okay, so it basically changed this string of 19 into number 19, and then it compared that 19 to 19 and it returned true. Okay, so let's write it here. Loose comparison equals to, we can copy it, we can paste it here. And yeah, just keep in mind, if you are using a single equals to, so that means it is an assignment operator. I'll write it down here as well. It is completely different from the double equals to or triple equals to operator. Okay, so just keep this in mind, because most of the new developers make this mistake by considering both this double equals to and single equals to are same. Okay, so this is an assignment operator which we use to assign some value to some variable. Okay, and this operator is used to compare one value to another. Okay, so now if we console log it again, then we will get the same result. Let me refresh. Yeah, so if I clear it out and if I refresh it again, we will get true here. Okay, so now let's see an example of triple equals to, which we also call strict comparison operator. So in strict comparison operator, let's write it here as well. We use triple equals to for strict comparison. Okay, and what it does not perform the type conversion if we try to compare two values. Okay, all right, so that means if we try to compare the same thing here, let's see this in console directly first. If we try to compare it using the triple equals to, then as you can see it is giving us false. Okay, if I hit return, it is giving us false because it does not perform the type conversion. So basically what we are doing, we are comparing a string of 19 with the number 19, so it gave us false. Now if we try to compare the two 19s, so here this is also a type number and this is also a type number, then it will return true. So if we are using triple equals to, then the value and its type should be same, because it does not perform the type coercion at all. Okay, so if we are comparing a string of 19 using this triple equals to, then other value also needs to be string of 19. So then only it will return us true, otherwise it will return us false. Okay, okay, so we can store it in some variable as well. Using this, and if we console log it, and by the way you can clear this using this button here. Now if we console log it, then again we will get false here, because we are using string and it does not perform the type coercion, so it returned us false. Now if we refresh again, then we will get true here. So now I just wanted to let you guys, like, it is my personal opinion, like you should avoid using this double equals to. From now onwards you should ignore or pretend like this double equals to doesn't exist. And why I am saying that, because it leads to some major bugs in your code sometimes. Okay, so make sure you are using this triple equals to every time, and you do the type conversion manually if you want to change any type of some value and if you want to compare it. So let me show you some example of that. Okay, so let's take an example of cache. Again, let cache equals to 0. So now I'll be taking an example. If I have some marks, then I will increase the cache, otherwise I will not increase the cache. Okay, so I'll be using a prompt function here. Okay, and don't worry about these functions and all, because these I'll be teaching you in the upcoming lectures. Okay, we'll be learning everything about the functions in the upcoming lectures. So for now, let's write how you have got, and as you can see I have used single quotes, so it got ended here itself. So I am going to switch to double quotes. How much marks you have got in maths. Okay, so now if we refresh the page, then a beautiful prompt window should appear here. Okay, and if I write something, for example 45. Okay, so if I hit OK, then as you can see nothing happened. That window got vanished and nothing happened. That is because we have to store the value which is returned by this prompt into some variable. Okay, marks obtained equals to whatever value is returned by this, and we can console log it. Marks obtained. Okay, so now see it again. So how much marks you have got in maths? 20. Hit OK, and then we can see we got our marks in console, but this is in white color. That means it is of type string. If you check it, then you will get to know it is of type string. 20 again. As you can see, this prompt window returned us a number, but which is of type string. Okay, so now here we are going to work with our example. So if marks obtained is equals to 20, then what we will do, your reward is, and we can do the calculation, marks obtained plus cash. Okay, or we can do one thing, we can set it here, marks obtained plus 10. Okay, your reward is, and we can use our variable here. So now if the value is similar to this one, and if it is in string, then JavaScript will do the type coercion because we have used double equals to operator. So now let's see if it works or not. We are refreshing it, we are entering 20, and if we hit OK, then you guys can see your reward is 2010, and that is not what we have expected, right? And that is why I have mentioned like you should avoid using this double equals to operator, or you should pretend like this doesn't even exist. Otherwise it will leads to these kinds of problems where we have expected 20 plus 10 30, but it returned us 2010 because this was an string and this was a number, so it basically concatenated it. What it did is string of 20 plus number of 10, so it gave us 2010, which is of type string because it is in white color. Okay, so now let's see if we try to use triple equals to, what happens. Okay, so if I refresh it, 20, and now as you can observe already nothing got locked in the console. Okay, that is because we are using triple equals to and it never performs the type coercion. Okay, so it clearly said like a value which is of type string cannot be equals to value which is of type number, so it simply returned false here, and this piece of code never got executed. Okay, so as to make it work, what we should do is either we can wrap it in a number function like this, open parenthesis and close parenthesis. We can wrap this whole prompt window in this number function, then we are manually doing type conversion of this value and we are comparing two numbers if they are exactly same or not. Okay, so let's refresh it. Now if I enter 20 and if I hit OK, then as you can see we got our console and the type of marks obtained is now number, so it returned your reward is 30, and this time it did the proper calculation as well. Okay, so that is why we should always prefer using triple equals to instead of double equals to. Okay, so we can also use something like this. So in this way we don't have to wrap the whole thing inside of the any function, any parenthesis. Let's comment it out. We can use a simple plus sign and it will do the same job as number function. Okay, now if we see it again, we write 20 here, then again we got our console and type is number again. Okay, with this small little trick we use in JavaScript, and it is a little cleaner than this. So it's up to your personal preference which one you want to use and in which scenario. Okay, so now what we can do is we can refactor the code of if block, and what I mean by that is we can write it like this as well. If marks obtained equals to this, then if uh, we don't have multiple lines of code, then we can write it like this. Okay, we can use the console, and instead of this we can use this. Okay, and we can remove all these codes. So if we have a single line of code, then we don't need to use these curly braces. We can write it like this as well in a single line. So let's see if it works or not. Here we are writing 20 again. Now we got our result twice. This one is from line number 295, which is this line. Okay, we have logged it in a single line, and this one is coming from line number 291, which is this line, which is right in the parenthesis. And there is one more thing I wanted to tell you guys. Like in the previous examples, we have used if block, if else block, right? But we have one more thing here, that is else if block. Okay, so its syntax is like else, then we use the if keyword, then again the parenthesis where we pass the condition, and then we execute the code whatever we write here. Okay, so now let's take it here. If marks obtained is 20, then we are giving a reward of 10 rupees plus the marks obtained. If the marks obtained, let's say, is equals to 10 rupees, then we are giving a reward of rupees 5 here. Okay, else we can simply say there is no reward for you, or we don't manipulate anything. Your reward is 0. So now let's see this. If I refresh it, this time I'm passing 20. So right now we have 20 as marks obtained. So this first block of code will get executed, which is this one, because we got the value as true here. It converted it into boolean and it turns out to be true. So it executed this piece of code. So now if we use the else block, and if the piece of code which is here is false, if it turns out to be false, then JavaScript will move on to the next line. Okay, and it will check the condition here. If the condition returns true here, then it will execute this piece of code. Okay, and if here also it gets false value, then it move to the next line where it will execute the next line code, that is the else block. So with this way we can check the multiple conditions. Okay, if this condition doesn't match, we don't have to send directly to the else block. We can pass some more conditions so that we can check whether it matches some other conditions or not, and if it doesn't match any of these conditions, then we can execute the code of the else block. So now let's see this one by one. So we have used 20, so let's use 10 now. So if I use 10, then your reward is 15. That is because JavaScript executed the code from top to bottom. Okay, so it came into this block first where it matches the condition. So we have passed 10 there, so 10 is not equals to 20, so it ignored this block. Then it came to the next condition where it checked if the number is equals to 10, then execute this block of code, and here it got the value as 10. Okay, so we got a reward of marks obtained plus 5, and it console logged the 15 as a reward. Okay, so now if let's see, if we pass some value different than 20 or 10, what happens? If I refresh it, if I pass 5, then your reward is 0. That means neither this nor this condition got passed, so it came into the last block, which is else block. Okay, so this way we can use double equals to and triple equals to. Okay, so this is it for the double equals to and triple equals to.